Hey folks, good morning. I'm gonna try to good morning. Need to turn down my other screen so I can keep up on Facebook comments best I can anyway. Um yeah, so welcome to Worship Thursday this week. Um yeah, earlier this week Aaron asked me, he was like, "Hey, could we swap days this week?" I was like, "Yeah, totally, man. No problem." So, um, so we're at Worship Thursday. Um, yeah. So if you're here, especially if you're on Facebook, that's the only. Hey, how's it going to the Killens family? How y'all doing? Yeah, if you're here and on Facebook, let me know you're here. Good to be with y'all this morning. Hey, Mary. Um, hey, Raymond. Yeah, anyway, so it's good to be with y'all. Good to see you this morning. um I was in thinking through some of this week's other morning devotions. I thought I'd go maybe a slightly different direction today. Not nothing crazy. It's not like, I guess maybe it's just the Thursday of it, right? So we're coming out of Aaron's message over the weekend, talking about transformation. Um, hey, Kathy. Hey, Carrie. Um, our memory verse this week is, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." And that along with kind of today's focus in the meditation moments, made me think of a song, and we'll get to that here in a second. Raymond and Luann. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and you'll have to excuse me. I'm experiencing a bit of a scratchy throat and a mild cough from, I believe it's just some allergies from like all the stuff in the air with like the dryness and the smoke and the dust and all of that stuff. I went on a couple bike rides over the weekend, which was great, but also like gravel roads with Jeeps and stuff means I'm inhaling a lot of dust. And anyway, so I don't believe I have the dreaded disease, but I did get tested just in case. So don't fear not. However, I may struggle to sing a couple of these songs. Um, and anyway, so um, oh, I have an unstable connection. That's too bad. I am hardwired, believe it or not. We're gonna keep soldiering on. Hopefully, it'll catch back up to us here. Okay, so today, Thursday, it says to read John chapter 15. And I'll let y'all read that whole chapter on your own, but there is one verse I wanted to read for us. And it's John chapter 15, verse 15. And here in the New Living Translation, Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he says, "I no longer call you slaves, because a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now you are my friends, since I have told you everything the Father told me." And so kind of between that verse and our memory verse this week, it reminded me of a hymn called "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." And a few years ago, me and a friend that I met through worship school stuff, musician, worship leader, songwriter, a guy named D. Wilson, who you should totally look up his stuff. He's incredible. D. Wilson. we did this hymn arrangement together, and so we took the verses from the hymn and we wrote a chorus to go with it. And so this, thinking about how Jesus, went away to pray, this song talks about taking everything to God in prayer. And then even that verse in John 15 talks about how Jesus calls us his friends, like not just the people who serve Jesus, but the people who participate in ministry with Jesus. Excuse me. And that he welcomes us into his family, and as co-laborers with him in ministry in the world. So here we go. We're going to sing What a Friend. What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. And have we trials and temptations? Is there trouble anywhere? Precious Savior, still our refuge. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Jesus, our confidence. Jesus, our faithful friend. Jesus, our ever-present help in trouble. He calls us by our name. He looks us in the face. He welcomes us as friends before the Father. Soon in glory bright unclouded, there will be no need for prayer. Rapture, praise, and endless worship will be our sweet portion there. Jesus, our confidence. Jesus, our faithful friend. Jesus, our ever-present help in trouble. He calls us by our name. He looks us in the face. He welcomes us as friends before the Father. Amen. Well, I hope y'all are still hearing me. I know I've got, like I said, I've got this thing rolling here, and I know it says it's an unstable connection. Ooh. Hey, Nancy. Tell you what, all y'all on Facebook, if you're still hearing me, give me a shout. Let me know. Say, hey, I know you're frozen on the screen, but we can still see you, or we can still hear you. That'd be really great if I could know that. So one of the things that I wanted to, there was another song I wanted to sing today and this is where things are going to get a little bit different. So, oh, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for letting me know, Carrie and Mary and Raymond. Cool. Audio's great. Thanks, Stacy. Cool. So we're good. We're good. I'm going to keep rolling then. You get to see my like mid sneeze face there frozen on the screen. That's okay. Could be worse, right? Have you ever been like watching a TV show on Netflix or something? Have you ever been watching a movie or a TV show or whatever? Maybe it's Netflix, maybe it's a DVD, whatever, and you press pause and like the actor on the screen, like their face freezes in the most awkward way possible. And you feel so bad for them because you're like, oh, I know you're like this beautiful person or whatever. And now you're like huge on my screen, but it looks like you're like mid sneeze and it's just awkward and awful. Well, now that like we're doing all this stuff online, I finally at some point realized I was like, that happens to me. That happens to me sometimes. And I'm, it is what it is. It's fine. It's like, it's empathy. I understand what these people are going through. Anyway, sorry, that's a whole other random thing. But one of the things, so yesterday when Aaron was talking, he talked some about like creativity and about the arts and how we're all creative and how that creating and artistry should be held with theology. And that really resonates with me. And it made me think about a song that I wrote that's really not a worship song in any sense of the word as we typically use it. And it's not overtly religious either. Although for me, everything is, connected or whatever. But this today, especially in the meditation moments, are talking about a rule of life. And it's a really interesting idea that I kind of have, if I'm honest, it's something I've done before and will do again and am working on currently. And I kind of, it ebbs and flows with me in a way that maybe I would be better off if I stuck to one a little more closely. But but it made me think about like, this idea of experiencing transformation, of offering our lives to God. Excuse me. It made me think of this song, and I finally figured out what the quote was that inspired this song, and it's from Saint Augustine, however you like to emphasize it. I'm going to have to get close to the screen because the print on here is really small. But he's talking about this. He's writing about this verse from the book of James in the New Testament, how it talks about taming the tongue. And anyway, so, and this is pretty old school language, so bear with me. But he says, observe a like instance to this, the case of those beasts which we do tame. The horse does not tame himself. The camel does not tame himself. The elephant does not tame himself. The viper does not tame himself. The lion does not tame himself. And also man does not tame himself. But that the horse and ox and camel and elephant and lion and viper may be tamed, man is sought for. Therefore, let God be sought, that man may be tamed. And I just think that's such an interesting idea, that part of what it is to be a follower of Christ, part of what it is to follow God, is to experience this sense of being tamed by God, being formed into the likeness of God. And I know on some level I kind of balk at that. I say, my independence, my freedom, I'm not to be tamed by anything. But then a few years ago, I was walking my dog, and she's asleep on the chair right next to me. And if the video was working, I'd turn the computer camera to, I'd turn the computer camera so you could take a look at her, because she's so cute in her little, she's all curled up, snoozing in the sunshine. Anyway, so she's a funny dog because she's precious, but we got her when she was like a year and a half or something. She was a rescue dog, and every so often you're just like, this stinking dog is so wild, and if she could just like chill out and realize that she's okay, that like she's safe, she's taken care of, she's gonna be well fed, she doesn't need to be worried about life. She can just rest in the fact that she can be part of our family and a tame animal in our household. And because sometimes it's like, she just ate an old piece of garbage off the ground, and like it's just frustrating because you're like, it's probably going to make her sick, but at the same time, like, she's just still operating how she did when she wasn't part of a family. But if she could just realize how she's cared for, she might actually enjoy life a little bit more. And then it was one of those like light bulb moments where it's like, oh gosh, yeah, I'm kind of the same way, aren't I? That like when we experience transformation into the likeness of Christ, when we experience being tamed by God, being brought into God's family, that we actually experience freedom in that. So that's where this song comes from. It's about my dog, and it's called Never Tame. There is wood smoke on the wind, there is bird song in the hedges, and the pup is pulling harder on the lead. There is wolf's blood in her veins, and a wildness that remains, no matter how hard we try to hem her in. And oh, that's just like me, never tame quite enough to be free. There is snow above my ankles, every inch of earth is frozen. Still she finds and eats the garbage on the ground. While she once was on her own, well, now we're her family and her home. But these habits of survival just won't die. And oh, that's just like me, never tame quite enough to be free. And oh, that's just like me, never tame quite enough to be free. Yeah, well, thank you all for bearing with me. Thank you all for being here this morning. I guess today was a little maybe more like a podcast than it was like a live video event, but that's all right. Is what it is. It's wonderful to connect with you all. I'm so glad I was able to keep up on the comments. Thank you so much for sharing some back with me there, Carrie and Nancy and Kathy, and just all y'all who are here and participating. Yeah, it's just wonderful to be with y'all. And I know that, we're still in the midst of a weird time, but I'm grateful for these moments of connection anyhow. And yeah, so with that, I hope y'all have a great day. And I hope that we can continue to pursue finding God in the ordinary places and seeking after participating in what God is doing, that God is everywhere and working in all places, within, without, around, and through. And so anyway, good to be with y'all. And yeah, we'll see y'all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.